Welcome to Solid Waste Management Services presentation about the proposed mandatory measures or bylaws for the City of Toronto's single-use and takeaway items reduction strategy. There are 5 main parts to this presentation. To begin with, we will provide a high-level overview of the single-use and takeaway items reduction strategy, as well as the general objectives of the upcoming consultation. Second, we'll present details on the background of the reduction strategy, including some of the key steps we've taken to develop this strategy, such as past consultations, along with a look at recent impacts to the strategy development due to policy positions from other levels of government, as well as the impacts from the COVID-19 pandemic. Then we'll move into the main focus of this presentation to provide an overview of the feedback the City is seeking from the general public and businesses during the current consultation period. There have been changes to some of the proposed bylaws from past consultation sessions, and we'd like to get input on these changes. We will be bringing recommendations for the proposed bylaws to the Infrastructure and Environment Committee in May 2022. These recommendations will be informed by the input we receive from you during this current phase of consultation. Then we will be presenting some of the additional approaches being considered for the reduction strategy and concluding our presentation with a description of next steps. The reduction strategy and consultation overview. The City is continuing to move forward with its reduction strategy to reduce single-use and takeaway items. In consideration of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the reduction strategy was split into 2 stages. The Voluntary Measures Program, or VMP, is the first stage of the reduction strategy. It is designed to provide businesses with support to voluntarily implement actions to reduce single-use and takeaway items in their operations through 3 approaches. Firstly, it is designed to prepare businesses for compliance with the City of Toronto's forthcoming mandatory measures in the second stage of the reduction strategy. The VMP will include the adoption of an ask first, buy request approach for single-use straws, eating utensils, stir sticks, napkins, condiment packets, and beverage trays. Secondly, it will encourage businesses to eliminate the use of polystyrene or foam and black plastic containers. Lastly, the VMP encourages businesses to accept and integrate reusables through customer incentives and/or reusable container programs. Reusables can include containers and cups for any prepared food or beverages or shopping bags for carrying purchases. The City is also encouraging businesses to consider implementing their own reusable container programs, such as deposit and return systems, or to participate in an existing program that is available in their area. The second stage will be the implementation of any new council-approved bylaws that support mandating measures through the proposed reduction strategy, such as fees and ask first buy request measures to reduce the use of single-use and takeaway items. The newly proposed bylaw will be presented to Council in the spring of 2022, and the development of the proposed bylaw will take into consideration the feedback gathered from this consultation. Between February 7th and March 4th, 2022, Solid Waste Management Services will be conducting consultations that include an online survey, interviews with businesses and the general public, and virtual meetings with both stakeholders and the general public. The objectives of the consultation are to seek input on expanding the originally proposed items and approaches, the proposed implementation timing for the bylaws, and on the appropriateness of proposed fees on shopping bags, cups, and containers. The information gathered through consultation will inform the final proposed reduction strategy that will be considered by the Infrastructure and Environment Committee and City Council this spring. The report will include a final proposed reduction strategy, with mandatory measures and implementation timelines. Solid Waste Management Services is working with the city's public consultation unit and an independent research firm to conduct this research. The city looks forward to receiving and reviewing feedback from businesses and residents and will be using the input to inform the final proposed reduction strategy that will be presented to City Council. This next section looks at the background of the single-use and takeaway items reduction strategy. To start, it's important to describe what is included in the city's definition of single-use and takeaway items. These items are any product designed to be used once and then disposed of in the garbage, blue bin, recycling, or green bin, organics. Typically, these products are not designed for durability or reuse. The city recognizes that some single-use takeaway products support accessibility for individuals living with disabilities, and that programs and policies must be inclusive. This slide shows the estimated use of some of the single-use items that are being proposed for restrictions in the City of Toronto's reduction strategy. Based on city research, every year, single-family households use approximately 39 million units of single-use hot and cold drink cups and approximately 400 million single-use plastic bags. Work on the reduction strategy supports the City Council-approved long-term waste management strategy, which emphasizes waste reduction over other waste management approaches. As shown here, the waste strategy emphasizes the importance of 7 key approaches to move Toronto toward a zero waste and circular economy future: mobile depots and recycling initiatives, partnerships and collaborations with community-based organizations and residents, the continued promotion of the 3 R's in high-rise apartment buildings and condominiums, supporting swaps and exchanges, promoting the reduction of food waste and textiles, exploring opportunities for the recovery of resources, and finally, the ongoing enforcement and measurement of our success. In 2018, City Council directed Solid Waste Management Services staff to develop a single-use and takeaway items reduction strategy. The graphic here demonstrates the priority placed by the city on waste reduction efforts and activities over and above other waste management practices, with the disposal of residual waste to landfills being at the bottom of the waste management hierarchy. As a start to the development of the reduction strategy, the city conducted consultations in 2018 and 2019 to help determine 3 things. Number 1, what single-use items should be targeted for reduction? Number 2, what approaches the city should consider? And finally, what the timelines for the implementation of the strategy should be. Independent polling during previous consultations held in 2018 and 2019 identified strong support to restrict the following items. Food utensils received support from 75% of respondents. Straws received support from 77% of respondents. Plastic checkout bags received support from 77% of respondents, and 53% of respondents supported restricting paper bags. Beverage cups received support from 63% of respondents, and expanded polystyrene containers and cups received support from 76% of respondents. In developing our programs, it's important for the city that we regularly review action taken by all levels of government. The Government of Ontario is committed to preventing and reducing litter in neighborhoods and parks, and reduce plastic waste going into landfills and waterways. They have also finalized their plan to transition the Blue Box program to extended producer responsibility by 2026, at which point producers will be responsible operationally and financially for the end-of-life management of blue box materials. In December 2021, the Government of Canada released its proposed single-use plastics prohibition regulations, which aims to prohibit the manufacturing, import, and sale of 6 single-use plastic items nationally in 2023. The Government of Canada is also exploring other approaches to manage plastic waste through extended producer responsibility, as well as regulating minimum recycled content for plastic manufactured items. In this slide, you can see the 6 item categories that the Government of Canada has proposed to restrict. The Government of Canada has stated that non-conventional plastics, such as compostable and biodegradable plastics, will be restricted the same way conventional plastics are restricted. This will impact the first 5 items on the list: plastic straws, plastic utensils, plastic checkout bags, plastic stir sticks, and plastic 6-pack rings. The 6th item, food serviceware, the Government of Canada is specific to the types of plastics that it plans to restrict and does not list non-conventional plastic, with the exception of oxo-degradable, to be restricted. The city's proposed reduction strategy aligns with the Government of Canada's by addressing almost all of these items. It is important to point out that the city's proposed reduction strategy's objective is to reduce the amount of items being distributed, regardless of material type, whereas the Government of Canada's regulation is only banning conventional and non-conventional plastic items. Plans to present the proposed reduction strategy were put on hold as the city focused its efforts on the emergency response to the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2021, work on the single-use and takeaway items reduction strategy reinitiated, and in June 2021, Solid Waste Management Services presented the updated single-use and takeaway items reduction strategy Stage 1, which took into consideration the social, financial, and health-related impacts on Toronto residents and businesses due to the COVID-19 pandemic. City staff recommended that the reduction strategy start as a voluntary measures program, encouraging businesses to voluntarily adopt measures to reduce single-use and takeaway items, rather than implementing mandatory measures such as fees or bans. The first objective of the voluntary measures program is to encourage and enable businesses to eliminate the unnecessary use of single-use and takeaway items in their operations. The second objective is to recognize that businesses and service providers have demonstrated leadership to eliminate the unnecessary use of single-use and takeaway items. The program builds on the momentum of public support for waste reduction heard during the city's public consultations in 2018 and 2019 on single-use and takeaway items. We are seeking your feedback and would like to hear from you about some of the new approaches to the proposed reduction strategy, including the additional items being proposed for restriction, as well as the implementation timing and information on appropriate fees. The data gathered will inform a report that is planned to be presented to the Infrastructure and Environment Committee and City Council in May-June 2022. The updated proposed reduction strategy will include proposed items, approaches and implementation timelines, budget, policy rationale, consultation feedback, voluntary measures program update, communications and engagement strategy, and enforcement and monitoring strategy. The timeline that you see provides an overview of where we've come from in terms of developing and consulting on the single-use and takeaway items reduction strategy, where we are, and what lies ahead. As you can see, we are currently in the winter 2022 consultation phase. The data gathered will be used to inform the report that will be presented to the Infrastructure and Environment Committee in May 2022 and City Council in June 2022. Over the next several slides, we will explain our policy approach for each item we're proposing to restrict, the items previously consulted on in 2019, the new proposed changes, and the underlying rationale for the changes. An Ask First, by request bylaw requires that single-use items be distributed to a customer only after asking or upon request. Customer would ask for the item, or the staff asks if the customer wants the item. Businesses would be restricted to keeping items behind the counter. Delivery services could be required to include confirmation that the items are required for online and mobile food orders, and the bylaw would ensure no adverse effects for individuals who request single-use plastic straws for accessibility or health reasons. In our previous consultations, we received feedback on two single-use and takeaway items, single-use straws and single-use food utensils. Solid Waste is proposing that the Ask First, by request approach be expanded to include other accessory items, such as napkins, stir sticks, beverage trays, condiment packets, cup sleeves, and other similar accessory or accompanying single-use items used as part of food or beverage service or packaging. Many of these items are sometimes provided to a customer unnecessarily and cannot be effectively processed in our blue bin or organic green bin programs. With a fee bylaw, businesses will be required to charge customers a fee per single-use item. All fees collected will be retained by the business. Solid Waste has proposed a fee bylaw approach to restrict single-use bags, paper and plastic, and single-use beverage cups used for hot and cold drinks. Past consultation results indicated very strong support for a fee for these items. The average supported amounts were approximately 39 cents for single-use beverage cups, hot and cold, 36 cents for single-use plastic bags, and 25 cents for single-use paper bags. The city also recognizes that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused economic hardship for many residents and businesses. As such, the city is seeking input again on the fee amounts for single-use beverage cups, single-use bags, paper and plastic. As such, the city is considering a phased-in approach with increased fees over a multi-year period. In addition, the city is proposing to add a minimum fee for new reusable bags being purchased at point of sale. This addition is being considered as some businesses no longer distribute single-use bags and are instead offering reusable bags free of charge that may result in increased waste generation should the bags not be reused. Also, due to the economic hardships caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, the city is requesting feedback on what the fee amount should be for reusable bags, single-use bags, and single-use cups. The fees could be anywhere between 5 cents and 50 cents per single-use item and more for a reusable bag. As a summary, the proposed fee bylaw would apply at any business that distributes single-use hot or cold drink cups, plastic, paper, or reusable bags to customers used to carry out items. The fee would apply to each single-use item and be retained by the business. A ban bylaw would prohibit businesses from distributing single-use and takeaway items. Initially, Solid Waste identified only expanded polystyrene or foam containers and cups to be restricted using a ban bylaw approach. Past consultation results indicated very strong support for a ban to restrict foam containers and cups. The city is proposing that takeout food containers not be restricted through a new bylaw. The federal government is proposing to ban EPS, black plastic, oxo-degradable, and PVC containers sometime in 2023. This is the same time frame Solid Waste Management Services would have proposed to restrict EPS and other takeout food containers such as black plastic. Here we see a summary of the proposed items, approaches, and timelines, as well as a comparison of the city's proposed reduction strategy to the Government of Canada's proposed single-use plastics prohibition regulation. We will be recommending that the Ask First by Request bylaw for all the single-use accessory items be implemented on September 1st, 2022, and the fee bylaw for bags and cups be implemented on January 1st, 2023. All elements of the bylaws will be enacted when adopted by City Council. The staff report will include a proposed implementation timeline for the enforcement that includes 2 phases: public education and compliance and enforcement. Public education will start immediately after all the bylaws are enacted by City Council in 2022. Businesses who are not in compliance during this phase will receive a notice from the city that alerts them to the bylaw requirements and provides support on how to comply with the bylaw. It is the intent to focus on public education first. The proposed timing for the enforcement phase is recommended to begin on September 1st, 2022 for the Ask First by Request, and on January 1st, 2023 for the fees. Compliance enforcement will be addressed through a complaints-based approach for investigation. For those businesses that are non-compliant after this date, the city can issue a warning notice followed by enforcement procedures, which could include fines. During the current consultation, the city is seeking your feedback on the proposed timing of implementing the previously proposed items and mandatory measures, the fee amounts associated with fee-related mandatory measures, and additional items to be addressed through the proposed reduction strategy. Options to provide the feedback will be explained later in the presentation. In this section, we will present some of the approaches being considered as part of the ongoing development of the reduction strategy, in addition to the bylaws being proposed this spring. In addition to the mandatory measures that the city is proposing, the city is also asking businesses and residents to provide feedback on your level of support for businesses to be mandated to accept a customer's reusable bag, cup, or takeout container. To be clear, we are not proposing these measures at this time. However, it is something that could be considered for the future updates to the reduction strategy. For now, we would like to get more of an understanding of the challenges that businesses would face if such a bylaw was implemented. In the next series of final slides, we will provide you with an overview of the Voluntary Measures Program, as well as the timeline to report back to Council and the timeline of the current consultation activities. As part of the Voluntary Measures Program mentioned earlier, the city is also seeking feedback on some of the supports we are intending to provide businesses to transition from distributing single-use items to reusable items. Some of these supports include online resources, webinars and workshops, public recognition of businesses' reduction efforts by the City of Toronto. This consultation period is also an opportunity for the public and stakeholders to provide feedback on what resources would best support businesses' transition away from single-use and takeaway items. Sign up for our email mailing list by visiting our webpage at Toronto. This final section will present the next steps in the reduction strategy. To summarize, We are currently in the winter 2022 final consultation period. Your feedback and input gathered will help inform the final proposed reduction strategy that will be presented for consideration by the Infrastructure and Environment Committee in May 2022 and Council in June 2022. The report will recommend the proposed single-use and takeaway item reduction strategy regulations, policies, and programs to reduce single-use and takeaway items in the City of Toronto, including proposed timelines for implementation, resources and budget required, promotion and education support, voluntary approaches to reducing single-use and takeaway items. Finally, this slide gives an overview of all our consultation activities, dates, and how to provide feedback. The consultation period will run from February 7th to March 4th, 2022. During that time, the following activities will be taking place. The online survey, public opinion polling, and business opinion polling for food service and retail establishments will be between February 7th and March 4th, 2022. The two virtual public meetings will be on Tuesday, February 15th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. and on Wednesday, February 16th from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. The two virtual stakeholder meetings will be on Tuesday, February 15th from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. and on Wednesday, February 16th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. To complete the online survey and sign up for a virtual meeting, you'll need to go to the city's website at toronto.ca/single-use. You can also visit this website for more information. Please send us your comments by email at wastestrategy@toronto.ca or leave us a message by calling our comment line at 416-392-3760. Thank you for listening to this presentation on the current consultation for the city's single-use and takeaway items reduction strategy. We look forward to receiving your feedback.